Welcome back everyone to Faces of Semmelweis. Today we have a very special podcast video. We have a very special guest. She has been a teacher for the past 7 years and she worked in the ministry and touched the education system of her own country. Then she got inspired by her students to become a psychiatrist and now my dear classmate in Semmelweis University in the medical program. How have you been?
I feel good and I feel excited about your questions. Let's see how will it be.
I was waiting for 3 years to get you to do a podcast with me.
That's true.
Were you escaping from me?
Finally, I'm here.
And what changed your mind to say yes finally after 3 years?
Because you insisted a lot. Then there was no choice to escape from you to anywhere else.
I tend to have this character in me, right?
Yes.
But I think the version of us in first year and now in third year, we've matured.
I feel the same. Because we experienced a lot of difficulties in medical faculty. We have learned how to solve the problems. At the beginning, we were much more scared. We didn't know how to study, how to stay, how to survive in the medical faculty. But I feel like that now we are much more confident.
If you had 3 words to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
First of all, I would like to say I consider myself as a creative person. I think creativity is the most important thing in your life, that you should improve that skill. Today's world, the competition is everywhere. But if you are creative enough, you can survive from this competitive world. People sometimes consider me like I'm doing many things at the same time as a hardworking person. But I don't think that I am that much hardworking. I am just smart working. So I can describe myself as creative person, smart working person and passionate person.
As we started first year, we started as people who were just very scared, not confident, and we always questioned whether this was the right choice. So we built this whole persona around ourselves that we can be much more than just a medical student. And you've done such an amazing job at representing this ideology that now you run your own business, you have employees, and you've become a very well-known figure in Semmelweis University. How does that feel and how did you reach that point?
You know that education is a very huge passion in my soul. So I wanted to do something related to education during my university years because I realized that I can help students. I'm educated how to study smart, how to take the steps in a short time period. I wanted to share this experience with the other students as well. Then I realized that actually people are very supportive because I felt like that I touched somewhere that students really need about. But the most important thing is motivation, because without motivation, you can be a hard worker, but you cannot be a smart worker.
I remember when we were in anatomy class, you mentioned about the idea of running your own business. You actually made it happen. You started writing your own notes. I remember you took the whole summer break just writing every note you could make to help students, especially biochemistry, because that was the first thing that everyone was struggling with it, and you sent your notes and I shared it to everyone else, and it became such a big thing. Everyone was asking, where's Betül? Please give me Betül's notes. And I always came back to you, be like, Betül, people need more topics. And I think this was when I saw in your eyes, you were so motivated that this is going to be such a success. And now you have a whole team working on separate books on different topics that is helping everyone else. And I think the main idea is you kind of missed this aspect of teaching when you were a teacher. And now in medical school, you're kind of doing it the same, but not under the title of being a teacher, but being under a mentor.
Because of it was a passion inside of my heart, I felt like that my heart needs to continue on that path. I created a post on my Instagram. I was not expecting that a lot of people applied as a writer to USEP, and I had hard time to select the good ones because many of them were actually really good. And I sent a lot of letters to them like, okay, maybe not for this writer program, but you have a huge capacity, you have a huge potential. Please apply for the next writer program. Yeah, so now we are popular in the university and I'm glad that we are motivating students.
Usually students thought the name came from Use Betül.
Yes,
yeah.
They
it was
didn't
a funny
know.
joke that was going around university, you know.
They didn't know what is the meaning of the name of USEP.
Yeah.
It's not of course use Betül, but use brain. There is something that is important, that we should use our brain first. We don't want students to just memorize a thing, but we want students to learn the subjects in an active way. They should use their brain, they should use their creativity, they should put something on the subjects before they learned it. So in the university, it's not just about taking the academic knowledges, but after university, we will use this knowledge. So we need to use our brain. USEP name comes from there. You should use your brain first.
And I think the brain aspect is so important because you want to be a psychiatrist. And I know how much you love the brain because when we did the central nervous system, it was the topic you knew the most about and you love to talk about it. And that also started the idea of perfect date night, right?
I had a lot of social responsibility projects. Perfect date night is one of them. I created the idea of perfect date night, and for each perfect date night, I want my guests to choose a story for them, and then I try to ask some inspiring questions about their life with these inspiring stories. As a teacher, I saw the correlation between learning the subjects and learning the traumas. And it inspired me a lot. And from here, I realized that the first thing that a person should do is exploring themselves. No one is perfect. We are not looking for perfections. That's another reason that I wanted to use perfect in the name of perfect date nights. It's an irony because no one is perfect.
And I love this idea because when you introduced it to me the first time, I was like, wow.
You always motivated me.
Really? I did?
In my all ideas, in USEP, for perfect date night idea, for Eyes of Stars idea, you were always so motivating. If you give someone just motivation, they can find their way easily. In this world, there are a lot of sources for teaching materials, but there are less amount of sources of motivation. So we have to create our own motivation sources first, and we have to stick these motivation sources when we need them.
You always go back to teaching and motivation, words which a teacher always uses. But I never asked you the question, why did you want to be a teacher in the first place?
Because I realized my skills about teaching in my early ages. I became a successful student, a legend student in high school. I was 17 and I won a bronze medal in Turkish national biology Olympiads.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes,
Damn.
thank you.
Okay.
And I started to teach biology, first of all, my classmates, and then the higher grades in the high school. And then one of my teachers explored me and he wanted me to work in their school. I was a high school student, but I was also working in his school as a biology Olympiad teacher.
Damn.
That was so interesting that they trusted my knowledge. I really liked teaching. At the beginning, I always thinking that, oh, I will be a doctor or I will be a teacher in the university. Then with this experience, I loved teaching. Whenever I am in the school, I am in the class, I feel so relaxed. I feel like it's me. With this experience, I wanted to be a teacher. I just motivated students. That was the whole thing that I concentrated on. Every brain can learn if you give them enough motivation.
And another big project that you worked on, and you mentioned it before, was Eyes of Stars.
Yes.
And especially since now you're telling the story about you raising human beings, you started this project on your own. Could you kind of elaborate on it?
I have a microphthalmia. This is a special condition from your birth that there is no eye actually. I use like non-real eye, so I can't see with my left eye at all. But it also inspired me a lot. It gave me a passion and creativity a lot that I realized that a lot of people like me are very desperate. They think like that because of they can't see with their left eye or right eye. They are not normal. They can't be the part of the normal society. But no, it's not true. We are also normal. What is normal? Normal does not mean like being perfect. Normal includes imperfections as well.
True.
So I got inspired by my own eye. I saw the other people as well, and I thought, okay, I'm positive about this. I can be an idol for that kind of people in their life. So I started this Eyes of Stars project. Now, especially the families of young children who has microphthalmia try to reach me and they ask me, how do you consider yourself? I consider myself normal. The families are anxious about their children. They don't know their future, what will happen to them in the future. No, it's just a normal situation.
When you created that page, I was very surprised because I remember you mentioned it to me in first year, but I never knew what the condition was. And then you making it such a big project, helping others, really touched me. Especially you reached out to your own physician who made your eye as well, and he also worked with you on it. So that was really touching, and one of the life stories that actually motivated me in hopefully in the future to make my own projects as well. You've done actually a lot in those 3 years.
Yes. I think people who have passion but plus courage can do more than I do.
I remember your mom came to visit you a couple of weeks ago. Would you say she also motivated you in a big part to be this successful?
Yes. She's my biggest supporter. She supported me a lot. You know, sometimes you have some ideas, but the other people around you think like that, okay, but are you sure? Maybe no one is going to be interested in this. But she was also always interested in my ideas. She was also always the first place of supporter of mine. So she helped me a lot. I admire her. She is the biggest idol of mine.
I think I would say the same thing to my parents and my close friends. So my very close friends, including you in my circle, everyone is very ambitious. Everyone has big projects, big aspirations that they want to succeed. And especially being in that environment, it really pushes me to kind of think outside the box. And I think that's a quality that has grown throughout those 3 years. And now that we're halfway through med school and kind of finishing the last exam period, I think we've accomplished a lot. And I get the feeling that that's why a lot of people look up to us, because they believe that they wouldn't be able to do those things, and hence why I wanted to bring you for the podcast. That's why I insisted for you to come, to show the aspect that regardless of different backgrounds, different cultures, or different ethnicities, with motivation, with courage, and with a good group of people who actually motivate yourself or motivate everyone, you could accomplish anything.
That's true. You touched a very important part that I really appreciate our classmates as well, because in our class, everyone is so supportive. With this support, it's easier to overcome the hard things in the university.
I think a lot of people, especially starting medical school or in general being an international student alone away from parents, you feel lonely. But it depends how you take on that loneliness. It can be both positive and negative. And I think in the beginning, for me, it was very negative, where I was depending on others to find happiness. Mm-hmm. Whereas gradually throughout the years, and I remember you told me that recently, that I've changed entirely. My persona is more mature. The way I behave is different compared to how I behaved in first year. And I think this is how you grow. And I think being a med student also, especially at Semmelweis, they do push you to the max. And at some point, if you are not courageous or if you're not hard-shelled, you will break down. And you've seen a lot of people go through that process. Hence why I think talking about it would be beneficial in giving hope to people that it's okay to be scared at the beginning, but that does not define that you're going to be scared in the future.
That's true. You touched a good point that courage is an important thing that we should improve in our life. But I also want to touch a point that courage, being courageous, does not mean that there is no fear. There are always fears and there are always risks. But at some point you realize that, okay, my passion is much more. My goals are much more.
I think in conclusion, we both evolved very much throughout this whole process. Mm-hmm. As starting as friends in first year, and now we've all kind of grew kind of apart, but not apart in terms of friendship, apart in terms of accepting ourselves and accepting the loneliness and kind of understanding what we hope to achieve in the future. And that has been a mindset change in our class as well. Everyone kind of realized they have their own life and they have to improve themselves to be able to motivate others and kind of don't feel like they're left behind. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a kind of a tradition in our class, in our classmates.
No one is going to be left behind.
Exactly. No one has been left behind. Mm-hmm. And I think this is why we're still very close to each other, and each of us respect each other very, very much.
And the success level in our class is also high.
Has always been the highest, to be honest.
Yes. That's why I'm proud as well.
Anyways, Betül, it was a pleasure to have you here. We're definitely going to continue this conversation. This is not a one lifetime podcast. You're definitely coming back. And please, for anyone watching this video, leave a comment behind about whatever questions you guys have concerning medicine, concerning university. I will make sure to reach out to you. And if you want to see another video where Betül can touch on things more emotional, more personal, feel free So see you guys later.
Zubair, I really thank you a lot, that it was a huge honor for me to be your guest here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.